it's been like almost three months. How long has it been since we've had a GPS where we both lost? I mean, mostly it's just because my team was losing and your team was winning like 11 straight games. But yeah, how the mighty have fallen. We are sitting here today as both our teams suffering some tough losses. I still not over mine from Saturday. The Jaguars kicked your ass, and we're just sitting here sad.
Yeah, my team needed to lose. This was good for my team.
Yeah,
my team's actually benefiting from a loss. So crazy.
Oh man, the copium is that what that's in that cup?
You win 11 in a row. You got to lose one there, Tom. You got to lose one.
You've been saying that for 2 weeks. You've just been like, hey, Packers are a tough team. Oh, we won. Jaguars are a tough team. They're due for one.
They are. Oh, I thought they would drop one between the Packers and the Jags. I really did. It is not fun. It's not fun it's so weird how you adjust to just winning every week. You got to relearn what humble pie tastes like, and it does not taste good. Great timing, NFL Network. They're playing the highlights of the Jags Broncos right now.
I mean, the somewhat good news, right, is that the Broncos have a quick turnaround, right? And you may be the starting quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs.
I could be backing up Chris Oladugan.
I think you could do it.
Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, those games on Thursday are just looking worse, and where I feel so bad for Gardner Minshew, man. Yeah. So can you kind of walk me through what happened yesterday? So I was able to go back and watch that game. But dude, Trevor Lawrence, we've been talking about him on this show for a bit, but just these last few weeks, he has played incredible football, and the turnaround that offense has done. And I think one of the big reasons why, they make that trade for Jacoby Myers, because they're having wide receiver issues. Travis Hunter is on IR. And then Brian Thomas Jr. Can't catch the ball for a good part of the season. They bring in Jacoby Myers. He's their leading receiver for a good chunk of weeks. And it really feels like that offense is starting to click. That's what now 3 or 4 weeks in a row that he has not thrown an interception. And
It's 4 weeks in a row for Trevor Lawrence after throwing 3 against the Cardinals. 4 weeks in a row. He's got 12 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions in that stretch. Passer rating over 100 in all of those games. As soon as the receivers stopped dropping passes and Lawrence stopped making mistakes, the Jags have turned into a top flight team. They're as good of a team as you'll face at the moment. And what Jacoby Myers did for their offense is, and it's crazy because Brian Thomas Jr. wasn't even like a big factor in this game.
Yeah.
And neither was Jacoby Myers, really. But through that stretch, Myers has been catching passes in the middle of the football field, the area where Brian Thomas really didn't want to do it. So that is what propelled the Jags. And then in this game, it was a coming out party for Parker Washington.
Yes.
He had over 140 receiving yards. His touchdown grab was a little ridiculous. He broke several tackles. He embarrassed the Broncos defense. He made the Broncos defense look like one of the worst defenses in the league in terms of tackling. And then they're tied in. Brenton Strange had a nice game, made a handful of key grabs. So the Jags on offense, they just outplayed Denver's defense. Denver couldn't get a stop in any key situation until late in the fourth quarter. They got some stops. And at that point, even though the Broncos offense was moving the ball, they kept either stalling or making a mistake. And then Sean Payton, we're down. The Broncos are down 3 scores, and they get to the 2 or 3 yard line. And Emmanuel Ogbah tips a pass at the goal line that I think saves a touchdown. And then it's 4th and 2 or 3 from the goal. And at that point, Sean Payton's like, well, we need a field goal. So he just kicks a field goal there instead of going for a touchdown. And I get it because you need the field goal.
Sure.
To me, that just felt like the kind of call that was a losing call. It's like, yeah, we need 3 scores. We're 3 yards away from the end zone. I don't trust our offense to get into the end zone, so we're going to kick it here. So and there were a lot of points where I was like, I think this game's getting away from Denver, but that was the one I was just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And it's like little things, like Bo Nix stepped out of bounds on a throwaway pass late in the fourth quarter. So he throws the ball away, but he stepped out first, so he takes a 9-yard loss. We're on 4th and 2, and they throw an interception there. The play before, they threw an incomplete pass, should have ran the ball, but like, yeah, they just got outplayed. And there's no one thing to point at for Denver right now, which is a little scary because you're like, what? We got a lot to fix if you look at just this game. Will Lutz misses a kick.
Sure.
Marvin Mims, who has provided like some returns, we couldn't get a spark play. And I don't know if I'm concerned yet because we'll get KC on a short week. We're getting their third string quarterback. I think Denver's going to look good on Christmas.
I would hope so.
It all boils down to this Chargers game, week 18. And the Chargers, the way they handled Dallas, if Denver would have fallen from the 1 seed, I'm sure this loss would have stung a lot more.
Sure.
But they still control their destiny. The thing I thought was funny is earlier in the week, Sean Payton, in his Sean Payton ways, he called Jacksonville a small market team, and they are a small market team. And he did so in the midst of complimenting Jacksonville. He was talking about how well they're playing football, right? He's like, This is a very good team. And he's basically saying what everybody else has said, but he just does it in a Sean Payton way that I think annoys people. But all week, everybody's like, nobody's talking about the Jags. Nobody's talking about the Jags, and they're very good. That's what Sean Payton said. Nobody's really talking about this team, but they're playing really good football. They can come in here and they can beat us. For whatever reason, the Jags use that as their bulletin board material, even though it was a compliment. And after the game, Liam Cohen dropped a small market team, beat the Broncos. And it turned into this whole thing that I think was just misinterpreted. But it is. NFL teams will use anything they can to give themselves an advantage. And a great thing for a team is to feel like an underdog. And the Jags have felt that way. So that kind of blew up in his face, even though that's probably like the one thing that shouldn't have blown up in his face ever. I unfortunately didn't see the Jags locker room celebration before I made my recap last night, because they went into their locker room and some of their players had belts and they were just smacking the ground, giving us a visual of the belt to ass they just gave us. And I was like, God damn it. God dang it.
That's another part that is kind of like going under the radar too, is the Jaguars defense, right? Because the defense is also making some strides. Yeah. And again, you go from earlier on in this season, we're talking about Trevor Lawrence of like, oh, I don't know, man. Like, he's just really not looking good. The defense that time was not looking good. And it's just a good shout out to Liam Cohen, man, because his name has been floating around there for Coach of the Year. I think his name definitely deserves to be up there. But I said this in predictions because I picked the Broncos to win because, as the Packers found out, it is tough to go into Denver and win against that defense. And for them to go in and win in that way, I think a lot of people are going to be taking Jacksonville seriously after this week.
Yeah, they should have been taking them serious already, but
I'm behind power rankings.
The Broncos defense gives up 34 to the Jags. They gave up 26 to the Packers. They're fine against the Raiders, 17 points, and 26 to the Commanders. So in the last 4 games, I'd say 3 of those games, the defense was not good.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's the reason, but that has coincided with Pat Surtain's return to the defense after injury.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what Vance Joseph and the defense was doing with Pat out, like how they might have been calling their defense schematically to make up for the loss of your best defensive player. But like something hasn't been right in the last month for the defense, really, compared to the first
where they were
11 games of the season or whatever. So hopefully they figure that shit out. Hopefully.